My mother told my daughter she wasn't a real part of the family, so I made sure we never would be again. I was standing in the kitchen at my parents' house during a large family gathering when I heard a sharp gasp, followed by my daughter crying out in the hallway. I dropped the plate I was holding and rushed out. I found my mother standing over her, holding a small velvet jewelry box. My daughter was sobbing, clutching her bare wrist. My mother looked up at me, completely calm, and said, "It belongs to the family, and she isn't really a part." The jewelry was a vintage silver heirloom that my grandfather had personally gifted to my daughter right before he passed away. My mother had always deeply resented that he gave it to her instead of my sister's children. My sister walked out, saw what was happening, and actually laughed. She muttered that the silver looked much better on her own daughter anyway. I didn't yell, I didn't make a scene. I looked down at my daughter, took her hand, and walked straight out the front door, leaving the family gathering right then and there. An hour later, my sister called me, screaming that I ruined the dinner. I didn't say a word back. I just hung up, blocked her number, and then blocked my mother's number too. They thought this was just a temporary fight and that I would eventually come crawling back to apologize because they thought they held all the power. They had no idea what I had been doing behind the scenes. For 3 years, I had been the sole co-signer for their rental properties. Their monthly expenses instantly doubled. A month later, a major holiday arrived. The family gathered at my parents' house, expecting us to finally show up and beg for forgiveness. We weren't there. Instead, I took my daughter on a weekend trip to a beautiful cabin near a lake. No drama, no toxic comments, just absolute peace. As we watched the sunset, my phone buzzed. They completely relied on my excellent credit and my legal signatures to keep their investments afloat. Without me, their interest rates would skyrocket, and their management contracts would dissolve. The next morning, I met with my attorney. I legally withdrew my name from every single shared account and canceled my co-signatures. The consequences hit them faster than a freight train. Their monthly expenses instantly doubled. A month later, a major holiday arrived. The family gathered at my parents' house, expecting us to finally show up and beg for forgiveness. We weren't there. Instead, I took my daughter on a weekend trip to a beautiful cabin near a lake. No drama, no toxic comments, just absolute peace. As we watched the sunset, my phone buzzed. It was an email from an unknown address. It was from my mother. It contained 2 words, "Please help." I looked at the screen, hit delete, and put the phone away. My daughter smiled, completely safe, and asked what the notification was. I looked at her and said, "Nothing important.